Welcome to the Family Geekery Podcast, a podcast for geeks from a family of geeks. We talk about comics, video games, and anything else geeky. I'm Chris.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Danny.
And we are back. We missed last week. Hope you didn't miss us too much, but we were all conflicting in schedules. So and we'll talk about why we were conflicting in schedules last week, because it has to do with this episode. And this episode, we're going to be talking about the new movie, The Odyssey, in theaters now, as of the time of this recording.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be talking about. And yeah, conflicting schedules. We wanted to go see the movie, which opened last weekend. And we usually record kind of in the weekend-ish or Monday sometimes. And
sometimes
one of us couldn't wait to go see the movie with the rest of us.
Nope.
One of us had to go earlier, which meant she went to go see the movie when we could have recorded, and then we went to go see the movie when we could have recorded, so we didn't record it.
Nope.
But we're back.
we are back.
And we're going to be talking about the Odyssey, but before we do that,
Geeky weeks.
let's talk about our geeky weeks. After we just admitted that we were super busy last week. Amber, you got anything geeky this weeky?
Besides watching The Odyssey, I have been doing some of my usual stuff, like Marvel Rivals and Marvel Rivals. But I've also gotten back into the Critical Role Campaign 4 because I realized that they have them at the episodes as podcasts on Spotify. So I've been listening to that during my driving because I ran out of audiobook hours on Spotify. So might as well listen to that instead of, shuffling my entire library and skipping songs 15 times in a row before I find one I want to listen to.
Same.
So I've been listening to that. I'm still really early on. I think they have like 30 episodes or something out right now. And I'm on like 8. So I've got lots of time to catch up. And I drive a lot, so it works out. And
nice.
Besides that, I also, maybe for like the third time, attempted to teach Dad how to play Magic. So that was kind of fun.
How'd that
go? It went, I think, a little bit unfortunately, because the first game you had difficulty drawing lands, so it wasn't like the most fair game, and I think it's a little hard to learn when you're like getting destroyed.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So
It was nice of you to say it wasn't my fault afterwards.
Aw.
yeah,
Just the luck of the draw, if you will.
Yes, which, I mean, to be fair, like, that does happen in, like, actual gameplay, and if you lose because you only draw 2 lands, you lose, and that's it, right? But, at least, your excuse is, like, at least it's like, oh, it was because I didn't draw, and not, oh, I'm bad,
Yeah.
So, it was still cool. You told us a little bit about, Justice, because he's a pretty good Magic card, and in the Marvel set, so you were able to look at least a little bit of. I hope you had some fun with looking at the cards at least.
Yeah, it's neat to see, Marvel superheroes that how they get, I guess, converted into, having traits that match the rules of the game of Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun.
Nice.
That's good.
And that's about it for me.
All right. Danny, how about you?
I haven't had much going on. I miss my weekly college game nights, so I got nothing from there anymore. But I got
more Uno. What are you gonna do?
No more Uno every week. But
You'll have to have Amber show you how to set up like a tabletop simulator version of
Yeah.
that with your friends.
yeah,
Hey, if it's Wednesdays that you used to do it, you could always just learn how to play Magic and come play Magic with me at the brewery.
sick.
Just saying. Wednesdays
But-
don't have to change too much.
I got to rip open some Pokemon packs last week, and I got a few good full arts, so that's nice.
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 And then I saw Odyssey, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yes.
But that's about it for me.
All right. I had a busy week too, as always, but I did get a chance to play a new game. It was just a demo on Steam that I downloaded because Steam said, hey, you might like this game. Why don't you download the demo? So I said, hey, thanks for the heads up. I'll download that demo. And it's called Tower Line, and it's not what you think. It's not a tower defense game. It's actually almost identical to a game that I talked about at some point on this podcast called Shapes. And it's basically an automation. You extract stuff, build it, change it, whether it's change the color or the shape of it or something like that, and then use it to complete tasks. So it's very similar to Shapes, and Shapes is a game that I did enjoy. So I tried out the Tower Line demo and got all the way to the point that it said, hey, you're done with the demo. Why don't you buy the game? And guess what?
You bought it.
I didn't buy the game.
Oh,
You got enough fun out of it?
Yeah, I got a good gist of what the game was, and I know that it'll be more of the same and then getting more and more complex. So when the road gets harder, I just go ahead and not do that anymore. But
That's a great life lesson, huh?
yeah. Always take the easy route. Words to live by. But yeah, played that a little bit. Played a little bit of Dreamlight Valley. Still playing with
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And then I've been slowly working my way back through the Game of Thrones because they've got so many spin-offs that I need to catch up on. And I'm now almost done with season 6 of Game of Thrones. Still kind of surprised
Wow.
myself with things that I didn't remember from watching it the first time around. So that's always fun.
I think you're farther than I got on my first watch.
I just got through the Hodor.
Then you're probably about where I stopped watching.
But yeah, that's about it for me. So let's talk about the Odyssey now. I think this entire episode should have a spoiler warning or spoiler alert, although we are spoiling a story that was written
yeah.
like
Next week is Retro September.
2,400 years ago. No, it's August, isn't it?
Oh, you're right.
Bro interrupted you to say a wrong fact.
That's right.
Sorry.
I'm used to that. So yeah, we're going to be spoiling some of the movie. Of course, if you know the story or if you're familiar with the story that was written like 400 BC or something like that,
Long time ago.
then it's not so much of a spoiler. But there was some, I don't know, creative liberties put into the movie, which we can talk about if we liked or did not like. And in the overall maybe order of the story was a little bit different. But if you haven't seen it and you don't want anything spoiled, then go ahead and press pause.
Or read the book.
Go watch the movie. Come back in 3.5 hours, and then press play again, and you can listen to us talk about the movie. All right, so that was your spoiler warning. So let's get into the movie. Now, this is a movie that we were all excited for. I think some more than others, because is this one of your favorite stories, Amber?
Yes. Odysseus is probably my favorite character.
And you both read this book in high school, is that correct?
Well, read is a strong word.
Yeah.
However, I did go back in college because I took a lot of classics classes. I did read the Iliad and the Odyssey. Again, read is kind of a strong word, but I think that's okay.
I was talking to my boss about how I like read the Spark Notes on it, and he was like, "Oh, back in my day, I had to go to the library and find Cliff Notes."
Yeah, Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
This is a story that I did not read in high school. Like, it was not assigned, so I don't know what year it was supposed to be.
We were special.
I can't imagine why we would have done this in 9th grade. Like,
Yeah.
if anything, maybe senior year, but like 9th grade, wild.
But I think I mentioned last episode or the episode before that I had been reading the book from Audible, reading, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And so I did get all the way done with that, like the day before we went and saw the movie. So I was happy to get that
good timing.
done. And it was the version that was translated more to plain English, as opposed to like the old English. So it was very easy to digest. It was very, very easy to understand. So I went into the movie having a pretty good feeling that I knew what the story was supposed to be, and it was fresh in my mind. So that was the intent, and that's where I got. And overall, just long story short, very very happy with the way that it was presented in movie form, because they can't do everything; it would be way too long, and they have to change some things to make it look cool. So they did that. But what did you think overall, Amber?
I thought it was incredible overall. Obviously, knowing this story quite well, I noticed the differences, and usually I think that the differences can be quite distracting, especially if it's like a beloved book or story or something from me. But I think that the way I understand why they made the changes they did, and I think it like elevated the story. It made, I think, the point of the story a little bit different, like how you view Odysseus as a character, I think is a little bit different than how you would in the book. But yeah, I really liked it. It was phenomenal.
And how about you, Danny?
I agree. I think it was a very entertaining movie. It was 3 hours long, which for me after a 9-hour workday was a little much. But I think any other 3-hour movie I would have left, but it was a good 3-hour movie. A little loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I had to plug my ears. It was really loud.
You didn't watch Oppenheimer, did you?
No.
Luckily it wasn't as loud as Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer had some really big moments.
What's funny is Danny went to the theater with your mom and I. Mm-hmm. And it started off, they had technical difficulties.
Oh, yeah. You always have technical difficulties when you see a movie.
And it would start and then stop, and it started when it initially started, it was already 15 minutes late. So then it started and stopped several times. And of course everybody in the theater's like, hey, this is a 3-hour movie, we should get it started.
Right.
And same thing happened to your mother and I in Oppenheimer. It stopped in the middle, and we never got to see the end.
I guess your theater doesn't like Christopher Nolan.
But
or loud sounds.
When it finally did start, it was the poet stomping his stomping his staff on the ground really loud, and at that point it was like almost painfully loud. And I thought, is this part of the technical difficulties? And I thought maybe we just had a weird showing of it being extra loud. But then I've seen memes all over, the socials talking about how loud the movie was. So I guess it wasn't exclusive to our theater. But yeah, we had some technical difficulties, and I was glad that once it did start, we made it all the way through and didn't have a unwanted intermission like we did with Oppenheimer.
So, you didn't see any previews?
No previews.
No previews.
So you didn't see the trailer for Other Mommy?
No.
No.
Have you seen the
Heard
memes?
about it though.
No.
As the only thing that I saw, because obviously I didn't see it opening day, but the only thing I saw after the first couple of days the movie's been in the theater was the Other Mommy trailer, and it was like, maybe close your eyes if you start to see who Jessica Chastain on your screen, because there's a wild jump scare in that movie. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, okay, how bad can it be? You know, I love jump scares, right? Love horror movies. It was crazy. It was. You've got to see the trailer for this movie, because it was crazy. Not what I expected at all. Even with people telling me what to be prepared for, you know. It was just so funny.
Yeah, when I heard about that movie, I haven't seen any trailers yet, but I heard about it and I was like, is this something like Coraline related?
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it. But yeah, so we got the movie started nice and loud, and it starts off right in, I guess, the hall of Odysseus's house with all the suitors, and they're telling stories of, I guess, Odysseus's journey or his battles, and of course his son doesn't want to hear that. He's heard that before. But the neat thing is the way that the timeline kept on shifting back and forth through different methods of storytelling. We had all the events on Calypso's island were kind of framing everything that happened before that, and it was acting as if Odysseus was slowly remembering what had happened and what it was that he was trying to do as he was there for 7 years or 5 years or whatever it was.
Right. Which I think they did that in a good way. I think it was a good way to keep probably the most iconic island of Odysseus' adventures, and also condensing a few other plot lines into that.
Yeah, so we're not seeing, like, it's not showing us his journey home from Troy at that point. It's showing us flashbacks of his journeys with his crew, and he's trying to figure out what happened to his crew if he's here on Calypso's island all alone.
Right.
And a very, I guess, emotional discovery along all that path of him figuring out what's happening and Calypso wanting him to stay, but at the same time knowing that he needs to be going and he needs to remember this stuff. She's helping him remember, I guess, by stopping feeding him the what are those flowers called?
The lotus.
The lotus flowers that cloud his mind. And in the book, I guess one of the gods had told her, "Hey, you need to let him go."
Yeah.
And it didn't really show that, but it just showed her kind of understanding, yes, it's time for you to go, time for you to make it home. But as he discovers what's waiting for him at home and how long he's been away, it's very, very emotional. And I think Matt Damon did a great job, portraying that.
Yeah, because the majority of his chunk of time is spent at Calypso's island.
Other than the 6 years of war or whatever it was, 3 years.
Right. After the war, the 10-year war or whatever, Calypso definitely took the longest.
Yeah, so we got that going on. We've got all the events at home going on, and then we see some of the backstory of before they leave.
Yeah.
For Troy, and they add in a story that wasn't in the book, the story of Sinon. Mm-hmm. Which I think of all the things, there's always got to be controversy. People have to, complain about something about movies, And I think that whole thing, hey, here's a story that wasn't even in the original. and here's the framing of, you know, how they're going to show it and why they're shoving it down our throats. All of that aside, if you ignore all that, I really like the addition of that story. Now, Sinan is a Greek soldier in other stories, not in Homer's story. But the way that they show that, you know, that the young kid volunteer, or I guess take over for what was his name?
Antinuous.
Yeah. Why can't they just be like Jake and Brian and stuff like that? Taking the place of Antinuous, going to war, and nobody really knowing that except for him and Antinuous. That was I think I like the addition of that storyline. And
I agree.
Yeah.
And how it weaves back and forth throughout the movie.
Yeah, I saw this TikTok and it was like Antinuous wearing his like battle armor basically the whole movie, but he was like the only one that didn't go. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like his own little like coping of his ego or whatever.
Now, I think the movie started off with the Sinan scene on the beach just before the the Trojan War starts. And I'm like, ooh, that progressed quickly because that character is the only one that's outside of the horse.
Right.
And these riders ride up on them and thunk, put a spear right through their chest. So I was like, oh, wait, I thought this was going to be, a big character in this movie. And then, of course, through the backstories and stuff like that, it turned out to be a bigger part of the story. But I did like
a big
that
lasting shadow over Odysseus for sure.
Yeah. And the little token that makes it all the way home.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Another addition that I liked was the sea people.
Yeah.
And this whole, like, fear of the sea people and, oh my gosh, all these islands are getting, abused by these people at sea. And the slow realization of Odysseus, like, oh, I was the sea people.
Right.
I thought that was so good. That was, I think that made up for a lot of the other ways that, because I think one thing in the Odyssey is you're supposed to like Odysseus. He's really smart. He's really, he's really cool. He's a cool guy, but he's not supposed to be likable. He's like a love to hate him kind of guy.
Right.
It's like, because he's such a trickster and he is so full of himself that it's like you gotta love him because he loves himself that much. But the movie didn't really show that side of him at all. They like made a lot of excuses, I think, for Odysseus, like the whole Cyclops scene, not having the nobody thing, which is crazy because that's like, I think, kind of the biggest part of, that's the entire reason why he gets lost at sea is because of his cockiness. He's like, you know what? I'm not nobody. I'm Odysseus. You know what? Yeah. And then that's what dooms him to such a long journey home. And I think that was a weird thing to remove from the movie. But then the whole sea people thing and the focus on that, I was like, oh, okay. So there is this guilt that he does have. There is this like other realization of like, okay, he still is at fault here.
Yeah, I think I mentioned the beginning of the audiobook that I read was like 3 hours of like a preface from the author. Not Homer, but I think the
translator.
The translator. And they had mentioned that the translation of, the word like hero or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a good person.
Right.
It means that they were good in battle and they won fights.
They did what they needed to do to
Yeah.
get out
Right.
or win, no matter how many people are lost.
Yeah, in modern age, the term hero, you think of like the Avengers or something like that. People that do good things, and in this case, he was good at what he did, but it didn't necessarily mean that he was good in general.
Right.
Now, speaking of the island of Polyphemus, what did you guys think about special effects on that?
Oh my gosh. You know it was practical effects, right?
What do you mean?
It was a 60-foot tall puppet. The whole movie was practical effects pretty much.
Okay.
Like they filmed on the sea in boats. It was awesome. But they had a huge puppet to play Polyphemus, which was sick.
I think it was really scary looking.
Yeah. I think it was an interesting take on Cyclops. It kind of looked more humanoid in a way than I've ever seen a Cyclops look.
Except for the vertical eye.
Yeah.
And the crooked nose.
Yeah, that was a little off-putting.
It was cool.
Even just you didn't see the face all the time. Scenes of just the hand coming in and just ripping him. I was like, ooh.
Now saying that it was less, CGI and more, what'd you call them, practical effects?
Practical effects.
Kind of makes sense why they didn't find sheep that were strong enough to carry men out of the cave, because in the book they tied themselves to the underbelly. Mm-hmm. And in the movie they just kind of put some hay or fur on their back.
Yeah, and just kind of run with them.
Yeah. But it was a tricky way of escaping nonetheless.
Yeah. But the only CGI in that scene was hiding the wires and hiding the joints of the
Right.
puppet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's neat. I'll have to watch
I know, right?
some behind the scenes stuff
There's
on that.
a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Some other cool practical effects were the whirlpool was actually made by
Oh,
people on jet skis.
Nice.
Yeah, I think they sized it up maybe. And
Rotoscoped the
got rid
jet
of the
skis out.
Yeah. But it was really cool that everything was as practical as it could have been. Now, I don't know how they did the Cersei scene. I've not heard anything about that. I'm not sure how practical you can turn humans into pigs.
I don't care how they did it. It freaked me out.
It was some wild,
It was uncomfortable.
Cersei's one of my favorite characters in the Odyssey. I think probably because of the book Cersei gives kind of her side of the story during the Odyssey. But I think it was so cool to see her kick butt and take those guys into pigs.
Yeah, that was
fun.
That was kind of neat.
Yeah.
And I think Scylla was also a puppet.
That was the monster in the middle of the whirlpool, or
The monster in the cliffs. Yeah. Next to the whirlpool.
oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, the tentacles that came and swooped them?
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool. Now, I heard that the budget for this movie and the budget for the live-action Moana movie
I saw
Were
that.
the same?
was the same.
Oh no.
And the
I saw
Moana
a
movie
meme.
was mostly recorded on green screen.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like all of
It's the
that
CGI
budget,
chicken.
Yeah, all that budget went to Maui's wig.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a meme and it was like, how are these two movies have the same budget?
That's wild. Wow.
Kudos to Christopher Nolan for always
Yeah.
wanting to film on location and do it the right way.
Right.
Agreed.
Now, one thing that I was trying as we were going through the timeline of the movie, I was trying to line it up with what I had read. One thing that completely threw me off, and it's a big scene in the previews that I just didn't understand, was the Lystragonians.
Yeah.
And it was just a very quick, let's go on the island. Oh, nope, let's get back off the island.
Right.
And when I got home, I Googled what were the giant plate armored people in the Odyssey movie, because I did not remember that in the book at all. So it said, oh, well, certainly it was the Lystragonians, and the only difference was they were shown in plate mail armor instead of just giants that threw rocks.
Yeah, I think I saw something that maybe he thought, since it happens right after the
Cyclops.
The Cyclops, they wanted to differentiate more.
That makes sense.
These aren't more just like monstrous people. They're like actually people. But I think them being more of a civilization instead of just like these like crazy giants probably adds to the whole sea people thing of like, hey, we're like actually a society, Right.
And we think about all the big, I guess, occurrences that they stumble upon in the journey home, and all the things they have to overcome, and some of them obviously don't overcome. Some of the travelers don't overcome them.
All of the travelers don't overcome.
and you think about like, oh, it's bad giants trying to hurt our favorite characters, or it's a bad witch that's trying to hurt our favorite characters, or that kind of stuff.
Hey, you take that back. She's a victim.
Well, that's what I'm getting at is it had some small flashbacks of them actually sacking towns on the way home.
Yeah.
And they were, I think Odysseus was referred to as a city sacker. That was one of his titles. And you kind of forget that when they're going through all these trials and tribulations to get home, that there was a lot of, hey, there was ways to the means, we need food.
Right.
we need something. And they just take it.
Now, while all this is happening, we have the entire other story, the other part of the story, which is Penelope, Odysseus' wife, home in Ithaca with her son, Telegony.
Telemachus.
Telegony is a different person.
Yeah,
Telemachus. And the suitors, which I think was pretty crazy, because in the book it's kind of hard to visualize that whole scenario, right? Like, I mean, as hard as it is to visualize Laestrygonian giants, it's like you still know what's going on. Yeah. But like this huge group of just men just like partying it up all day, all night at Penelope's expense. I think it was really cool to see the castle and everything.
Yeah. They talk about, what term do they use? Dozens? Whenever they ask how many suitors there are, there's dozens. Which could be, 20. Or it could be 144.
Yeah.
But yeah, having this big hall filled with, people that were drinking their wine and eating their food, really put some scale to that number.
Yeah.
Now there's a couple islands missed on both sides of the equation. On the Telemachus side, he went and saw Menelaus to find out, what happened to his father, because he heard that Menelaus had fought with him, and he obviously made it home. But then Menelaus in the book sent him to talk to somebody else, and I forget who that someone else was, but that's where he basically stayed the longest time and kind of learned how to be a man, learned how to be a fighter.
Oh.
And then it was those guys that gave him the boat to get back home, and I think gave him some men also to make that journey home.
Makes sense.
And then on the Odysseus side, after leaving Calypso's island, he made the raft, and in the movie he just took that raft and found the way home. But in the book, he stopped off at
The Phaeacians.
the Phaeacians, and before I get into what the Phaeacians did for him, I found it neat that like everywhere people went, whether they were strangers or not, they were treated. I guess they're always talking about Zeus's rule.
Yeah.
Like you just stumble upon a civilization and walk into some dude's house, and they're like, "Oh, hey, how's it going, stranger? You want some food? Need some clothes? here's a bunch of riches."
That is a big value in ancient Greece. Like, I think some of the like, I think Oedipus Rex, the major like fault of that is he's xenophobic, right? So, and that's why he gets punished or whatever.
Oh,
but
okay.
that's like a big thing is like, hey, you never know when this stranger could be Zeus in disguise, and if you're mean to him, he'll smite you down.
Right.
So Zeus's law, I think they must have said Zeus's law like 200 times in the movie.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Right. But he makes it in the book to the Phoenicians.
Phaeacians.
And
Like the Phoenicians.
yeah, not the alphabet people. And he's there for a while. He gets healthy, and they, I guess, they figured out who he was, and they need him to have all these riches to go back. Hey, you can't go back empty-handed. You just won a war for everybody. Certainly, you should have some riches, some splendor from beating the winning the Trojan War. Mm-hmm. And so they gave him swift boats, the fastest boats, the best men to row, and just ungodly amounts of riches, which he ends up, when he lands on his island, his home island, Ithaca, he has to hide all that stuff in a cave as he's making his ruse about being, just a beggar or whatever. So they kind of left that out, which I understand. There's only so much you can show in a 3-hour movie.
Right.
But it was kind of a big plot point that he came home kind of empty-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no men.
Yeah.
There's no John Berthel. Let me tell you something.
I think he said something a little more in theme.
In time period?
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you something. I was waiting for it.
Or I think what he said actually was like, ask me something, or like, ask me what you want me to say or something. Like he said, I think he invited Telemachus to initiate that. But I did think it was cool that Telemachus kind of learned how to be a man and how to be a king, right? Because he's like in line for the throne, and if Odysseus doesn't come back, then he's the one that's got to, be the king. And I think it was cool that he, maybe instead of training up, like you said, he learned from Odysseus, kind of, because Menelaus was just telling all these great stories about Odysseus.
Yeah. Including the story of his brother's demise.
Okay, you guys need to... they need to make a movie that is Agamemnon, which is the play that Agamemnon returns home. It is so good. It's when Clytemnestra goes crazy cuckoo.
Now, was that actually Helen's twin sister? Or
they're sisters. I don't know if they're twins, but it could have just been they wanted to give, Lupita more screen time. I don't know if they're actually twins, though.
I thought they were saving a couple bucks on an extra actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't remember that from the story. I thought the visual representation of Agamemnon on the battlefield was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had him on a scooter or something.
Large, imposing, black armor. But then they showed him out of his armor, and no offense to the actor that portrayed him, it didn't look like the the Billy Badass that that he looked like in his armor.
Right.
He looked like a soft body, but
I think that's a lot of it. Is I think Agamemnon's kind of not a great warrior, right? Like he sacrifices his daughter. He's hiding behind all of these I don't know, other things. He's like, gods, tell me if I should do this. Sacrifice my daughter? Okay. So sacrifice my daughter and then I'll have all of the, the soldiers and boats and everything that I need. Okay, I'll do that.
Thanos moment.
Yeah.
now as we approach the end of the story, I'm trying to figure out as we're watching it how they're going to do the challenge, the challenge for the suitors,
Right.
because they described it in the book, and I'll tell you how they described it in the book. They said that obviously Odysseus was the only one that could string his bow. That's fine, I get that. And then they said he shot an arrow through 24 axes, and I was thinking, he's strong
Like-
enough to shoot an arrow through 24 pieces of wood? And then at the very beginning of them setting up the axes, because they showed him doing it in a former life, right? Or, before he went off to war as a, braggart, I guess you will. And they showed that, and then they showed the axes, being set up for this. And I was like, oh, it's that thing from the TSG movie bumper at the beginning of the movie. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. You'll see it and you'll know. But you know how at the beginning of movies they have like Amblin Entertainment or something like that?
Yes.
So the TSG shows the roughly animated,
Right.
I guess in this case, Greek warrior, as what I know now. Greek warrior shooting an arrow through axes. And it's I say roughly animated because I think it's been the same animation for decades. And it's not very good animation. But I was like, oh, it's that. He's shooting it through the axes, not through the axes. But yeah, I think that's, you build up the whole movie to, if you know the story, you know it's coming. And if you don't know the story and you see that this whole thing builds up to the only man that can string the bow and shoot the arrow, and you're like, okay, now this is our hero. This is the hero that we've been waiting for. We certainly forget all the innocent people he just destroyed and killed along the way for the last 20 years. And we're rooting for this guy to get that arrow through those axes.
I thought the way they did that whole scene with the stringing the bow and then plucking the bow and then the fight afterwards, I thought was awesome and a really great conclusion.
Yeah, I think the movie showed him as, obviously he had help from Athena. And the book said that he had definite help from Athena, but in the book it was him, his son, the swineherder, and I think the swineherder had a couple people come with him, and the 5 or 6 of them did the fighting in the hall. Mm-hmm. In the movie, it was clearly he was just Rambo.
Yeah,
he killed everybody. And
classic. Hey, let's only attack them like 1 or 2 at a time, not all 30 of us.
Right. And they didn't really show, like in the book, they talk about how everything that the suitors tried to do to attack him fell short, whether it was arrows or whatever. They were deflected away from Odysseus because of Athena. And they didn't really show that. They just showed a seasoned warrior doing his thing.
Right.
And murdering the entire island of Ithaca, or at least all the well-off men.
But I guess to be fair, these aren't the men that were at war. These were men that were either too young to go to war or too cowardly to go to war, like Antinous. So, who knows? And obviously Antinous shows his cowardice again at this scene.
And I think the reason...
Get the spears! Get the shields!
I think the reason that the movie portrayed Odysseus as the only killer at the end was because he knew that he would be exiled. He didn't want his son to be exiled.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good enough diversion for that purpose.
I think so.
So anything else about the movie stand out? Anything else you want to chat about?
I don't think so. I think
They did a good job.
they did a really good job adapting it. It was gorgeous. IMAX as Nolan intended. Very, very good.
Yeah, it's funny that there's, the IMAX, that there's a reason to go to those movies. Sometimes
Right.
there's not. Sometimes there's a movie playing in the IMAX that wasn't shot for IMAX. They're just playing it on a bigger screen.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was getting tickets for this, of course, opening weekend, like every showing in the IMAX theater was like packed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would look at, let's look at the regular theaters. And they were completely empty, like all of them. And this is all the way leading up to, opening day. I'm still looking and I'm like, just nobody is going. And that's odd because you got to pay extra money for the IMAX. And sometimes people will not pay the extra money to see it. And in this case, I guess anybody that's going on opening week of this was going because they wanted to see it.
Right.
They wanted to see this story. So it makes sense that they were all going to see it in this IMAX format. But yeah, good movie, good
Really
adaptation, and I'm very happy that I sat through all 3 hours of it. Plus
I agree.
technical difficulties.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I guess that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Let us know if you have seen the Odyssey and what you thought of it. You can hit us up on our socials or email us at podcast@familygeekery.com.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for this week. Next week, we will not be doing Retro September, despite what Amber
cut it.
announced.
Cut it out.
No.
Cut that.
We will have to come up with a theme for August. I don't know if
No, we don't. We need to do 3 themed months in a row.
No. So we'll be back next week with something. Who knows what it's going to be yet.
Definitely not us.
Yeah.
What?
We haven't planned out that far yet. We don't even know what month it is yet.
Nope.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We thank you as always for listening. Check out our socials. Check out our YouTube channel. See what's going on there. And until next time.
Peace
out.
out.
And geek
out.
Thank you for listening to the Family Geekery podcast. For more information, visit www.familygeekery.com. Don't forget to subscribe at your favorite podcast provider. And until next time, peace out and geek out.